All right, big news on the national stage. Debate continues in Washington over the government shutdown, and there is certainly impact on people across the country.
And that includes millions in the federal workforce and the military and those who rely on government services every day.
Karen Kafa is in Washington with a rundown on what households need to know live this evening. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe and Brenda. If lawmakers wrap this all up quickly when they come back to town, it's possible most Americans won't feel any shutdown impact at all. But if this shutdown is an extended one, it could start to take a toll everywhere from the nation's airports to the grocery store.
Despite the government shutdown, some federal agencies have deemed certain services and employees essential, which means Social Security payments will continue. Air traffic controllers and TSA employees will keep flights moving, though without paychecks, and veterans can continue to receive medical and critical care through the Department of Veterans Affairs. The Department of Health and Human Services says the Food and Drug Administration will still respond to emergencies, but be limited in the number of inspections it can do, which experts warn could put the nation's food supply in risky territory.
If this goes on for a couple of weeks, that there could be food safety outbreaks that couldn't be coped with. Significant problems could occur in the supply chains.
The shutdown also stalling the admission of new patients to National Institutes of Health clinical trials unless medically necessary.
So if we're on deck for a clinical trial, that will stop.
The Department of Agriculture says nutritional programs like SNAP benefits can continue until funding runs out. The Department of Education says federal student loans will still be dispersed, and borrowers are still required to make their payments to avoid default and delinquency. And the Department of the Interior says national parks will stay partially open, a move sharply criticized by park advocates who say it's dangerous for the public to have access, with more than 9,000 agency employees furloughed.
And the Labor Department said that key economic reports like the jobs report and inflation data will not release during the government shutdown, making it more difficult to gauge the overall health of the U.S. economy and how the shutdown may be having an impact. Joe and Brenda.
And I know, Karen, there's a lot of Americans with questions, including about the travel industry in particular. They have eyed the shutdown with concerns. What should travelers know about their itineraries and maybe any issues they could encounter at American airports?
Well, Joe, if travelers have an itinerary in the next few days or so, they shouldn't notice anything too different. What we ran into during the last shutdown in 2018 and 2019 that went on for about 5 weeks was TSA employees and also air traffic controllers who simply couldn't afford to be on the job without pay anymore. And remember that if you're going to the airport, TSA employees and air traffic controllers working without a paycheck until the shutdown is over. What happened was some TSA employees reported anecdotally that they were going elsewhere, calling in sick and going elsewhere to find jobs that would pay them, which of course created a crunch in staffing and long lines at the nation's airports. So something to think about if this drags on. The U.S. Travel Association says that the travel industry could lose about $1 billion a week if the shutdown is extended. That's a range of things, not just the potential for canceled flights, delayed flights, but also hotels losing revenue, people canceling their itineraries, especially government employees. About 750,000 of them right now furloughed daily without a paycheck when a vacation or a break may not seem like a priority.
Yeah, thank you so much, Karen.